Javier Hidalgo, a man equally famous for his extravagant lifestyle. Following his sudden disappearance, we found out that he had attempted to approach Umbrella. Just what are you up to now, Javier?
Well, I wanted to take a break after the Umbrella Chronicles, as I said in the previous review. It was also fitting in my opinion, as these two games are kind of best-offs of the Resident Evil franchise, which work as a short version or a recap of a couple of Resident Evil games. But that one was so much fun that I decided to just continue. So next up is Darkside Chronicles, which frame story serves as a prequel to Resident Evil 4, so I could also bridge the gap to the next part. I also haven't played Code Veronica, maybe one day I will, but for now I'm not interested, unless they make a remake. So this will do for now, as Code Veronica is kind of included as a story here. I remembered liking this one quite a bit less, and when I started it up again I realized that I hadn't unlocked the bonus missions. I hadn't unlocked all the bonus missions here, just like in Umbrella Chronicles. But this one offers only 2 more missions at the end. The frame story, which has been created for this game specifically, covers an investigation. Returning champion Leon S. Kennedy and his new partner, the battle-hardened Krauser, who is skeptical regarding the BOWs, are on an assignment. They search for a criminal kingpin in South America, but soon discover that their guide is dead, and the woman, the only survivor of a massacre and zombie outbreak in the town, is hurt. They are attacked by a giant monster, and after they are able to fight it off, Krauser wants to know what Leon has experienced. Leon then retells the events of Resident Evil 2, even though they are changed in some parts and truncated. It's also a bit annoying that they reused Marvin's model for this chapter for regular zombie cops. I mean, man, I killed that poor bastard probably like 100 times by now. These chapters are pretty cool, except for one of the boss fights against the Tyrant, which just sucked hard, as you have to hit him at a very specific moment, which is not well telegraphed and offers a very short time frame. But except for that, this was mostly quite cool. After a mission in the frame story, Leon also retells the events of Code Veronica, as it seems that the Veronica virus is also used in the town on the inhabitants. The Code Veronica chapters are more mixed though. It starts kind of okay, even though Steve Burnside seems to me like a poor man's Leon S. Kennedy. We shoot our way through a prison and soon meet a weird man wearing old-timey clothes who is hunting us. These chapters soon feel cheap, as they are sending us through the same hall over and over and over and over again. The ending chapters outright suck at times. I especially hated the fight against Alexia. The first phase is laughably easy, the next phase is a bit tougher, but it's still manageable. The last phase is just kind of stupid though, and I actually died a couple of times, as that stupid linear gun just didn't hit right. And it's unclear when and from where I have to shoot that stupid flying thing. Eventually we return to South America and complete the frame story chapters. We learn that the woman is the daughter of the criminal kingpin we are hunting. She is terminally ill, just like her mother was, and her father started experiments on the people of the town and his daughter to keep her alive. He used the Veronica virus for that. We eventually kill the monster from the beginning and her father, who transformed into a giant monstrosity. We save the woman, but Krauser gets hurt, which leads to the events and the role he plays in part 4. I was able to unlock the bonus chapters this time, and was deeply disappointed by them. There's nothing new, we just play the last 2 chapters again, but this time we can only play as Krauser, and hear his monologue. how much he despises Leon and that he wants to be more powerful. The chapters are also tougher for no apparent reason. It's really disappointing, as I said. Unfortunately, it's something that counts for the whole game. The presentation is quite good for the most part. This time the stories are more coherent and easier to follow compared to Umbrella Chronicles, which were quite fragmented, and as if parts were missing. But that's only one of the few positives I have. The worst thing about this game is the camera movement. There's an absolute excess of shaky cam and unnecessary camera movement, making it hard to decide whether you will have to start shooting enemies now or if the character is just running around. This is very frustrating and annoying. Umbrella Chronicles had slower movements and much less shaky cam, making it a much better and more traditional feeling Lightgun Shooter experience. Seeing things in general is also hard at some points in the game. It's not so much that this is an uglier game than the previous one. It's more that here you can see unnecessary visual effects like fog or particle effects obstructing your view. Destroying objects is also much more confusing. Instead of just shooting at objects, which will probably be destructible, here it is a guessing game. Lamps, obviously being the same asset, are sometimes not destructible and sometimes are. Same goes for all the other objects. Also, objects which should be destructible like boxes are sometimes solid. It's just confusing, especially as I wanted to unlock more stuff in this playthrough. And you have to destroy some objects to get some of the collectibles. The gameplay in general is also a bit different compared to the Umbrella Chronicles. Instead of collecting weapons in a level and then switching through them via button, you instead unlock them in the campaign and can switch between the weapons via the face buttons directly. You can have 4 weapons available at any time. If you want to switch to another weapon, you go to the pause menu and change it in the status. Here you can also see the score and gold you collected and the healing items. The first aid spray also serves as a bonus life once again. Green herbs are not immediately used, but can now be used whenever you want via the status menu. Gold can be collected by completing the missions. Depending on the score you get more gold, but you can also collect gold in the missions and when destroying objects. This gold can be used to buy upgrades for weapons, which works step by step and in the categories stopping power, fire rate, capacity, reload time and power. The pistol proved to be the most useful weapon most of the time, though depending on the collectible you collected and the score achieved, which is also consisting of enemies killed, critical hits and score, you can unlock more bonus material. This material can be texts, figurines, videos and so on, inviting the player to several playthroughs if he wishes to do so. When comparing this one to the Umbrella Chronicles, I definitely prefer Umbrella Chronicles. While not perfect, Umbrella Chronicles was much more fun. You always unlock something, there's a bunch of weapons and bonus features. Darkside Chronicles annoyed me with some boss fights. The shaky cam is borderline insulting, while the presentation in general is pretty good. It often breaks the game flow though, making it a lesser experience, as you are always running into a cutscene or the characters are talking with each other. Same goes for the destructible environment, which is just overall noticeably worse than in the predecessor. The upgrade system has its cons and pros, but in general there are fewer weapons and you don't always feel the difference after upgrading something just one step at a time. There's still a lot of unlockables though, which make it worthwhile. Darkside was a letdown for me though. It's not a complete failure, but it just could have been much better. More fun just like the previous one. Reinventing the gameplay was a bold move, but for me personally, it didn't pay off. With that said, the Darkside Chronicles still gets a 6 out of 10.
This is bad.
Let's keep moving.